Pretty important match. Top 8 implications for this tournament on the line.
Yeah, and for Dan Jessup, who is a mainstay on the SCG Tour, you know, even if he doesn't get there this tournament, every single point matters. He's been going to most events this year, if not all of them, and I suspect the same will be true for him and his brother throughout the rest of the year, trying to vie for those at-large bids at the end of Season 2.
Jessup on the play here, leads on Basic Island Serum Visions. You'll notice that many of his cards have sunglasses drawn on them.
I didn't notice that because it's very small.
It's true. Some of them are bigger. You'll see more of it.
Why? I mean, it's fine. I'm curious why.
Yeah, I didn't ask.
Okay, both players here having decent starts. Is a Phoenix deck doesn't really want to cast Faithless Looting on turn 1 unless you're discarding at least one copy of Arclight Phoenix. Normally you want to start with Serum Vision or something to kind of sculpt your next few draws, but Oliver here at turn 1 Faithless Looting is one of the better plays that he can have early on.
It discards a Dredger and Golgari Thug and a Bloodghast, so 2 live ones there. Jessup will shock to 18 for his Steam Vents and has Pyromancer Ascension. And here is the Dredge 4. Looks like a Conflagrate hitting the bin as well as a Life from the Loam.
Oliver here had that Bloodghast already, really wanted to find a Prized Amalgam to apply a lot of pressure early for very little investment, but can still get the Bloodghast back with a land. Really needs some other burst here, like a Cathartic Reunion, to really punish Dan for having a Pyromancer Ascension start as opposed to a Thing in the Ice start.
The hand for Tomajko looks like a little bit of a mess.
Yeah, I saw at least one Narcomoeba hanging out.
Creeping Chill, Prized Amalgam, but he just discard all these. He's just going to flashback Conflagrate for 5.
I mean, that seems fine. You're going to knock Danny all the way down to 13. Unfortunately, the Prized Amalgam doesn't see the Bloodghast entering the battlefield, but he does get his Dredgers back into the graveyard, as well as that Life from the Loam. And if he finds something good off a Dredge next turn, maybe a Narcomoeba can bring back that Prized Amalgam.
So that put Jessup to 13. This fetch puts him to 12, finds another island. See how quickly he can get the Ascension going.
It's one of my main gripes with Pyromancer Ascension is sometimes it's super easy to get going and it's completely busted, and other times it just doesn't do anything.
Sleight of hand with Sunglasses, looks at Manamorphose with Sunglasses and Lightning Bolt. He already has a Manamorphose in hand.
Yeah, he also has 2 Sleight of Hands in hand too. This turn what he can do is go Manamorphose, trigger, Sleight of Hand, trigger, that'll put the second counter on there, and then Sleight of Hand again will let him, double Sleight of Hand. But he's preparing more for next turn, and he's going to cast another Sleight of Hand here, put a second counter on Pyromancer Ascension, and then next turn, each Manamorphose generates 2 extra mana while also drawing 2 cards. It's crazy.
Yeah, shape in his hand. There's that third Sleight of Hand. Ascension will be online next turn. Copying Manamorphose, definitely really powerful. You go +2 mana, draw 2 cards.
Yeah, if you ever have the ability to play towards that specifically, always do that.
Tomajko will dredge the Thug again. It's just 4 Dredgers hitting the bin. He already had that stuff.
Dredger flooded.
Gemstone Mines the land for turn.
Had the land importantly for this flashback of Faithless Looting, and looks like he has 2 Stinkweed Imps, so he's going to be able to dredge 10 off of it. Let's see if he can hit Narcomoeba and bring back that Prized Amalgam.
First dredge, almost a total miss, just a Faithless Looting of relevance there. The second one, there's 2 Bloodghasts. He already played his land for turn, though, and another Dredger.
Yeah, so he might have a pretty decent next turn. He can dredge Life from the Loam, get back some lands, play one of them, get back 2 Bloodghasts, which brings back a Prized Amalgam. But Dan Jessup might actually just have a combo kill turn this turn. And that's really the reason why they play Pyromancer Ascension. You're going to see right here exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so Jessup to 10 off of the attack, but now he's untapping with active Ascension, multiple Manamorphose in hand.
All right, so you're going to see him lead off here with a Manamorphose going to generate mana. Then he's going to cast Thing in the Ice, and then he's going to cast another Manamorphose, generate mana. Then he's going to play a couple copies of Lightning Bolt, maybe a couple draw spells, and you just go ballistic. And he might, if he casts Faithless Looting and finds a couple copies of Arclight Phoenix, every Lightning Bolt does 6, Arclights do 3. It's just bananas.
So Manamorphose for blue-red both times. Draws 2 card. Another Manamorphose.
Yeah, this is disgusting.
One of the pickups was Faithless Looting as well. He'll be able to see a lot of cards this turn. You mentioned there is that thing in the ice in hand, though there's a lot of stuff in his deck that can just win this turn.
Right, but I think he's going to be flush with mana, especially now that he drew the third Manamorphose. So I wouldn't mind just go ahead and casting the thing nice to make sure you transform it, but I think he's going to transform it even if he casts Manamorphose here, so it's not that big of a deal. So now he gets to resolve another copy here. So it goes up to 6 total floating, draws 1,000,000 cards.
Draws were Thought Scour and Opt. Uses one of his 3 floating blue mana to opt twice. Scries to the bottom on the first one.
Yeah, and he's just looking for Phoenixes here. That Noxious Revival might be enough.
Yeah, Noxious Revival was picked up. Resolves his second opt. Looks like there's already a Lightning Bolt floating around in the hand. Scries to the bottom again. Arclight Phoenix drawn.
I cannot imagine that the game is not over. It's just going to take some sequencing from Danny Jessup. We're going to watch him figure it out here. But I mean, he's got enough sunglasses. Even a blind man can figure this one out.
Thought Scour himself. 2 to the graveyard, draws a card. Second copy. 2 more, no Phoenixes there.
Yeah, now he can Noxious Revival on the Lightning Bolt, Manamorphose, draw it, cast Bolt from hand, Bolt from drawn. That's already 12 right there. A couple Phoenixes with Faithless Looting. That's 15. Finding 5 more damage seems relatively trivial.
He spends one of his 3 floating red for Faithless Looting. Copy that.
No,
Manamorphose was drawn.
Yeah.
Discards Arclight Phoenix. That one's already coming back. Second copy of Faithless Looting.
Right, can we recount how many spells he's cast this turn?
Yeah, where's the storm counter?
This is why you see some players gravitate towards this build of the deck, because the draws where you start with Pyromancer Ascension and basically untap with an active one on turn 4, it is very difficult to lose. But the games where the deck struggles is when it plays Pyromancer Ascension on turn 2 and then just doesn't really get off the ground because you just draw a mishmash, a bunch of different versions or variations of those cantrip effects.
Uses his last floating blue to Serum Visions, draw Scry to the top.
Yeah, but fortunately for him, still has 2 copies of Manamorphose in hand.
Right. Another Scry 2 to the bottom. Picked up another Arclight Phoenix. Taps his island. He's going to cast and copy and opt. Seen well over half his deck at this point. Drew a Lightning Bolt. Copies opt, scries to the bottom. There's a Serum Visions. 2 red mana floating, but he still has that other Manamorphose. All right, Misty Rainforest is land for turn. He'll fetch down to 9. We just put all those cards on the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even like the cards you put on bottom are bad. It's just he just needs the extra mana, or I don't think he really needs the extra mana, but he's going to use it.
Finds another island.
This is, for me, this type of a draw from Is It Phoenix is rather scary from like a design perspective, because the deck plays on such a reasonable wavelength most of the time. It's when you have like the insanely busted double Phoenix on turn 2 draws, or you know, even sometimes even better than that. And then you have draws like this where he's literally just storm combo killing the opponent.
Yeah, so there was Noxious Revival. Put 2 Manamorphose on top, cast Serum Visions, draws both of those, does some more scrying. Still has that 2 red floating, and now just picked up 2 more Manamorphose.
Yeah, and it's just trivial at this point.
Right, cast Manamorphose. Resolves the copy. 1 blue, 1 red. And now he's going to make another red and a green mana, so they can cast a Noxious Revival for mana.
Yeah, and that makes it actually infinite, so he doesn't have to deal himself damage. So the copy targets Manamorphose, the original targets the other Noxious Revival in the graveyard. That lets you go infinite, draw your deck, make an infinite mana, and then you can at some point infinitely recur Lightning Bolts or something. It's ridiculous.
As you saw, Noxious Revival Manamorphose put on top. Now he's going to cast Manamorphose, draw both of those, go up 2 mana. Once again, making that green so we can cast Noxious Revival.
There we go. Okay. I was like, Oliver, man, you know what's happening. It's infinite. He just demonstrated the loop. Let's go. Let's go, game 2. Now you get your Ley Lines of the Void. You get to really show what your deck can do after sideboard.
Yeah, things do change during sideboards. We'll start on Dan Jessup's side. He's up a game here. The sideboard, he has 2 Alpine Moon and 2 Blood Moon.
Nah, those are really for the land-based matchups like Tron, Valakut, things that, you can't normally handle with spells like Lightning Bolt or Flame Slash.
It's 2 Ravenous Trap.
That is definitely going to come in this matchup. All the anti-graveyard cards are phenomenal against Dredge. Sometimes they're not enough by themselves, but they're still pretty good. And even though Noxus Revival is more of a combo card with Pyromancer Ascension, it does act as an anti-graveyard card of sorts. It's not quite as good as Surgical Extraction because you don't strip it from them completely, but it does do a little bit in a pinch.
1 Echoing Truth.
Might be okay at clearing out some blockers, buying some time. Don't love it, but, it might be worthwhile.
It's 2 Narset Porter of Veils.
That one might be okay at just helping gum up the ground because the Dredge deck really attacks you from going wide on the battlefield with things like Blood Gas and Prize Amalgam. That said, it might be a little too slow, but it is one of those threats that doesn't rely on the graveyard, so it does help get around Leyline of the Void, so I do expect it to come in.
So that was about Saheeli, yeah?
Oh,
Sure.
Yes.
Do you like the Narsets?
I do like the Narsets. If you cast it when the Dredge deck doesn't have a whole lot going on, the Narsets actually shut down Cathartic Reunion and Faithless Looting. So a pretty big game against the Dredge deck.
2 Lightning Axe, 2 Abrade.
Spire removal, not really great here. All the creatures from Dredge are pretty sticky. They just keep coming back over and over again. It's kind of like their whole thing.
Yep.
Removal not traditionally very good in that scenario.
All right, then let's check out Tomajko's Dredge sideboard. He has an Alpine Moon.
Nope.
All right, 3 Lightning Axe.
I do like the Lightning Axe. You need ways to kill Thing in the Ice. It's one of the stronger cards in the matchup. 2-mana threat that often threatens to take away your entire life total in roughly 2 swings, and bounce all your creatures. And if the deck doesn't really get off the ground with those early creature starts, the Thing in the Ice can really close the game quickly.
All right, Assassin's Trophy, probably much the same reason.
Yeah.
A little flexibility too.
The Spire removal is good against Thing in the Ice, not really great against much else, but overloading on ways to kill Thing in the Ice is important in the matchup.
All right, 3 Ancient Grudge, yeah, not so much, but do you like any of the 4 Nature's Claims?
I don't love the 4 Nature's Claims. There's not really a whole lot going on artifact or enchantment base-wise from the opponent, but the showstopper, Leyline of the Void, that's going to shut down the Arclight Phoenix draws, and is also going to shut down Pyromancer Ascension. We saw it play a huge role in Game 1 there for Dan Jessup, and I fully expect Oliver to be bringing the Leyline of the Voids as he's done and as he's drawn multiple times over the past few rounds.
And it is 3 copies of Leyline of the Void. We see quite a range of the number of copies of this card players register. 3's enough to be fairly consistent with it.
I don't know if I've ever seen 2.
Yeah, 2's the number that I can't remember ever seeing.
1, 3, and 4 quite often.
Our players looking at their opening 7s here. All right, so Tomajko will be on the play here. Copperline Gorge, Faithless Looting.
Yeah, that's one of the better starts for the deck as long as he has the Dredger for it.
Looks like there's more than 1 Dredger. Stinkweed Imp, Life from the Loam. Those will be discarded.
I'm actually surprised Oliver chose to discard 2 Dredgers instead of just 1. Not really afraid of something like Ravenous Trap here.
Jessup just Misty Rainforest go, so Tomajko will dredge that Stinkweed Imp. Couple Faithless Lootings, a couple lands, and a Cathartic Reunion. Not inspired dredging.
No, but this turn could still be great if you have something like Cathartic Reunion to follow it up. Even something as innocuous as Life from the Loam could just help him play a longer, slow game. And after sideboard, being able to play a longer game is fine because both players usually have some amount of graveyard interaction and or removal that stifles the other one's draw.
Scalding Tarn is the land for turn. It'll fetch to 19 for a basic mountain. There's a Conflagrate and a Life from the Loam in the hand. He's going to cast a Life from the Loam. He'll pick up those 3 lands. We'll target them anyway. Jessup's going to fetch in response.
I don't think he's going to really pop off the graveyard specifically. Might be casting like an Ops, Thought Scour, or something like that to dig for a Ravenous Trap to clean up the graveyard. With 2 lootings gone, a Life from the Loam there. or I guess 3 looting's gone actually, and a Cathartic Reunion. The explosive nature of the Dredge deck is not nearly as potent. So if he finds Ravenous Trap here, it could be good for him.
Jessup fetches basic island. He'll opt, puts the card on the bottom, draw. It was a Serum Visions. Yeah, nothing's going to play there. So Tomajko's Life from the Loam will resolve, and he'll pass back.
Life from the Loam doing a nice Ancestral Recall impression there.
Jessup Scalding Tarn. He'll fetch to 18.
He has, as far as I can tell, multiple copies of Manamorphose. So if he has a Faithless Looting, he might be able to bring back an Arclight Phoenix this turn. Let's see how this turn goes, because I think it's going to be a pretty good one for Dan J.
Finds basic mountain with sunglasses on it.
How does a mountain have sunglasses? I can understand the Serum Visions person or whatever.
Pyromancer Ascension, and he dodged the ley lines. That one might be good.
Yeah, I think so. Oliver's draw here has not been super good. You know, it hasn't really hit any Narcomoebas or Prize Amalgams or Blood Gas, but he can flashback looting here. But he only has 1 Dredger in the yard with that 1 Life from the Loam as far as I can tell, so he's going to need to have a nice hit here.
Right, so he flashes back looting, dredges Life from the Loam, has to draw 1 card because he missed, but he found a Creeping Chill and a Prized Amalgam. Discard Stinkweed Imp and Life from the Loam. Creeping Chill hits Dan to 15, Tomajko to 22. And now we'll see just how quickly Jessup can get the Ascension online in this game.
I know he has multiple Manamorphose, but as you saw last game, it's rather important to have those after you turn on the Pyromancer Ascension. But Dan J might not have a choice. He might just need to go for it now.
So he does start on Manamorphose, has a blue and a red mana floating.
All right, 2 copies of Serum Vision in hand, another copy of Manamorphose, so he's going to cycle these basically to trigger the Pyromancer Ascension.
All right, 1 counter on that. Blue and red again. Finds Noxious Revival.
It's not a bad one. Can maybe put Prize Amalgam on top of Oliver's deck in response to it coming back to the battlefield. Maybe do the same thing to a Narcomoeba so it actually never enters play.
With the land drop and another cantrip, well, never mind what I'm about to say because he just has 3rd Manamorphose in hand. Ascension is now live.
It is live, but without those Manamorphose, it's a bit worse. But it looks like he does have Noxious Revival in hand, so he can go Noxious Revival 2 times, paying 2 life, put 2 Manamorphose on top, cast Serum Vision, drop both of them, and then kind of go off from there.
So here is Noxious Revival. That one's being copied, just up to 13. Puts those Manamorphose back on top of the deck. Still has not made his land drop. Going to cast Serum Visions, and that'll draw both Manamorphose as it is copied. Opt Scry to the bottom, 2nd Manamorphose kept on top. Still red mana floating.
Yeah, now he's going to get to cast multiple Manamorphose here. Generate a bunch of extra mana, cast a bunch of cantrips as well, thanks to that land drop in the Steam Vents.
Shocks to 11.
If he finds another Noxious Revival, he might actually just win this turn.
He's been scrying a bunch of stuff that kind of plays Lightning Bolt and Serum Visions to the bottom. Seems like he's very much just trying to combo this turn.
Yeah, he doesn't want to let Oliver untap because things could go south for him. If he finds another Noxious Revival, I do believe that is going to be game.
4 mana floating now. 2 of each color. Cast and copy Faithless Looting.
And he does have 1 Phoenix to pitch, and he found another Noxious Revival. I think that's going to be it.
Yep, show the Noxious Revival. I would like to demonstrate a loop, and Dan Jessup defeats Oliver Tomajko. He is up to 12-3. Very much live for top 8.